Oh, I forgot something. Oh, no. Hey, hey, I am here. Okay. Hey, everybody, it's Rachel. I'm Cosmic Community. I've had such a great time I've been visiting with Rebecca. It's been a really lot of fun. But you don't care about my visit, Rebecca, because you want to visit Rebecca, right? I got your message. I think I did a video of somebody and they said, does that woman ever shut up? No. Anyway, Rebecca Hardcastle Wright, PhD. I'm reading it off here so I don't get it messed up. My goodness. I already messed it up. Okay, Rebecca Hardcastle Wright, PhD, is the founder of the Institute Exo-Consciousness, whose mission is to research and apply the abilities of human consciousness sourced in an extraterrestrial experience. She created the concept of exo-consciousness, which is a study of extraterrestrial origins, dimensions, and ability in human consciousness. See, okay, Rebecca, hi.
Hi. Thank you, Rachel. It's good to see you.
It is always good to see you. I've had so much fun visiting with you, and just to touch base what's going on in the world and stuff. And may I say what's going on in the world is so much fun. What got my attention a while back? Let me see if I can get with that where I had that over here too. I had that someplace. You did a blog recently where you talked about exo-consciousness, one seed we have all seen, and this is what you said. This is what got my attention. Posted March 9th, so I've been wanting to get you on the show for a while. Today, the public image of ufology is comprised primarily of a national security threat plus intelligent government military sources information about the threat. This is how citizens and the media views us in current social media on this our brand. It's our fruit of 7 years seeding the fields. The question is this the image, the brand we want to maintain? Is this the ufology identity we choose? If not, are there other options? See, I'm not going to read anymore because that's the thing that got me to look at you and go like, wow, how true. I want to know more. So would you mind sharing some on that?
Absolutely. Thank you. First, again, thank you for giving me a platform for sharing this blog, these two blogs. There's part 1 and part 2 on my blog, which can be reached at my website at exoconsciousness.com. Just click on the blog and
yeah.
I'd love for people to join the mailing list. But I started looking at the 70 years of ufology. So since 1949, that's the current history of ufology. I began to look at that. I began to look at exopolitics that came in about 15 years ago with Alfred Weber, Stephen Bassett, the whole disclosure movement.
Yeah.
And I began to examine what their sources were and what their message was, because your source determines your message.
Yes.
Message doesn't really determine your source. It's not a chicken and egg thing. It's that your sources determine your message. And what I came to see, and having been a professional in the field of ufology and exopolitics for a cumulative
yeah, don't mention years. It scares me too.
Yeah. Anyway, what I began to see was that ufology, the sources for ufology were government, military, intelligence.
Yes.
That those sources were the experts. So you would go to these ufology meetings and people would get so excited because we have another military, government, or intelligence insider who's going to share information.
Another colonel. Yes.
Right.
Another colonel showing up.
Or
yeah.
another, black op.
Yes. A secret that only 3 people know in the whole government.
And we can talk about the secret part of it too.
Yeah.
So I began to see that alongside that, what we had, especially in ufology, was that ufology kept saying we need to have these investigations or congressional interrogations about, or explorations
yes.
about ufology because we have a national security threat.
Yeah.
So the ETs have come in, they've, shut down our planes before, they've shut down our nuclear reactors. So we have to look into it, and you have to be worried about it if you're a congressperson, a senator, or a representative. You need to be concerned about it because you have a national security threat.
It's scary. Yes. Fear-based. Yep.
Right. Scary. Fear-based.
Scary stuff.
I looked at that and I thought, okay, 70 years has gone by. Maybe it's time that we think about having a new brand or a new public image. And that's when I wrote these blogs, because exo-consciousness is based on the fact that every human has an innate ability to connect and communicate with extraterrestrials.
Yes, everybody does.
Everybody does.
Yes.
Not the chosen few, not the experts, but everyone does.
The quality. It's definitely a quality.
And so what the blog then, the two blogs were saying was that it's fine, the whole government, military, and intelligence and national security threat. Now, that's not going to go away. It's like when TV came about, radio didn't go away.
Yeah.
That's part of our history. But also part of our history is the fact that there are a lot of extraterrestrial experiencers, such as the people that you work with, Rachel.
Yeah.
And these people have not been public.
Sorry, got a note from somebody in black. Just kidding.
And so what I did in the blogs was I started to, the first blog looked at where we were in our current image. And I talked about things like we have become our sources. People don't like to admit this, but what really happens is whatever you source, you become. That becomes you, and that becomes your message.
Yes.
So if you're continually only looking at government, military, and intelligence sources, that's who you are.
Well, at least you're becoming a spokesmodel for them, right?
Yeah.
You're just parroting what they're saying.
That becomes consciousness.
Yeah, the consciousness.
I mean, that's how consciousness works.
Oh, and wait, you did say something. One of your blogs talked about that actual how consciousness, a belief system, gets in the mainstream. You talked about on your blog. You talked, I think it was about equality and different things. That at one time we thought one thing, but as equality came in, as we started hearing more about it, seeing it in television, different things, it become our norm. I thought that was interesting.
Right, and that was in the second blog where I started talking about the fact that if and when we decide that we want to make this new brand of exo-consciousness as part of the whole UFO ET phenomenon, if we do that, we have to admit that we're invisible. I mean, somebody could look at you going down the street or me going down the street, and they would never know that we're ET experiencers.
Yeah.
We're sort of like, the breast cancer or the heart attack people or the LGBT or, or veterans with PTSD. We're not immediately identifiable like, women's rights or African American rights or people who are physically handicapped, rights for them. Instead, we're invisible. So if we are going to decide to be public as an exo-consciousness group of people, then we need to find a way to identify ourselves. I don't know, a bracelet, a hat, a slogan, a day.
Yeah, we can do a holiday.
We don't have that yet.
Yeah, we know a lot of people in the government. We could just ask them and maybe call for a holiday. I'm just being silly.
No, I mean, Ray Hernandez and Christina Knowles are talking, and Mary Rodwell are talking about October 1st being Experiencer Day. But I would add to that being ET Experiencer Day. I mean, experiencer is kind of that's a very general word. So that was one of the things. And as I began to look at the fact of how invisible we are, I read this. It's embedded in my second blog, and it talks about the fact that the color blue is a brand new color for humanity, which I didn't realize.
Wow, I'm very fortunate. I got a lot of blue in my background here,
and we see blue. But ancient cultures, for example, in Greece, the first color you see in a civilization is black and white. From that, you go to red because that's blood, that's wine. Usually then you go to yellow and green. And blue is a much later color that people see. So one scientist said that he did, in this article, it's just fascinating, he did an experiment with his young daughter, and he never told her about the color blue. And he never told her the sky was blue until she got older, and he looked at her and he said, "Now, when you look up, what color do you see? What color is the sky?" And she went, "White, yellow." She didn't know the sky was blue.
All right, clarify, because he didn't tell her. So she
didn't have a frame of reference for blue. That's
your video stopped for a minute. Maybe it'll come back. There you go.
Color blue is a later frame of reference for humans. And I would add to that being exoconscious as a species is a later identifier for humans. It's like we're not conscious yet that we're exoconscious. We're not. Most of us are not conscious yet that we have an innate ability to communicate and connect with extraterrestrials. That is a later.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I see what you're saying. Yeah.
The color blue, it's like saying, no, you're an ET, or you could connect to ETs. It's a later phenomenon, and we're just now moving into it.
Well, a lot of people weren't aware of astral projections. They weren't aware of stuff. They might have seen it in an old TV show, whatever. But there's been some people practicing it for a long time. They may were considered bad, witches or mediums or different things, or new agey or hippies or something. You know, everybody's got their label they want to put on things. But there's a lot of people who have been experiencing that a long time. But what you're saying is that we're evolving, so we're all going to be able to experience that.
There's a tipping point in your mass consciousness where you say, oh, because, I mean, you look at Egypt used the color blue. That was one of the cultures that did, early cultures that did use blue. But, you know, it was fascinating research that most cultures in the Western world did not identify with blue until, you know, much later, like maybe into the Renaissance or whatever. But also, I think that's very tightly connected to what John Mack used to talk about, the ontological question. Ontological question is, you know, what is our being? How does our being determine our reality? And ETs, being an exoconscious person with ETs, that starts to bring up what's your reality. You know, you're not a flatlander anymore. You have a multidimensional mind. Yeah. You're communicating with these beings, which people have been doing forever, but we've never really scientifically looked at it. We've just kind of ignored it. I mean, if you look back 400 years ago in the Age of Enlightenment, you know, science got everything. Science got history, science got biology, science got chemistry, science got art, and the church got consciousness.
Yeah.
What did the church do with consciousness?
I put it in a book.
It did nothing with it.
Put it in a book with a different language that nobody understood.
Yeah, the church doesn't even use that word.
No.
And so we not only have to talk about a new reality here, or an ontological question about what reality are we living in, but now we have to look at a different science, because, you know, John Mack said the same thing. You know, we have this Newtonian materialistic science. It's just not going to get there. It's not going to do the job. You're talking about people that are having paranormal experiences as real, just like seeing the color blue. I'm having a real experience. And we don't have the science to talk about it. That's why I've turned to consciousness science and said, you know, what's consciousness science leading us to? And I mean, as recently as today, I started reading about CERN, you know, the Hadron Collider, Large Hadron Collider in CERN. It's, by the way, shut down right now. One of the things that they're beginning to learn at CERN is that we live in parallel universes.
Yes.
Now, scientifically, one of the ways that they're starting to study these parallel universes and reach these parallel universes is through gravity. That there's something that they call rainbow gravity, which has been around for about 10 years. But it's a theory of gravity that questions the Big Bang. So, you know, right away, sacred cow. But it questions the Big Bang, but it also, on the other hand, gives us an understanding of gravity, where gravity leaks in literally to these parallel dimensions that can be measured.
Uh-huh.
So my question would be, if you think gravity works, what about consciousness? Consciousness is what has been leaking into these parallel realities for, maybe millions of years.
It's like living in thin wall apartments. You know
Yeah.
what's going on next door. You don't get all the details, but you get an idea of what's going on. You get pieces of it, especially on a Friday or Saturday night sometimes. Like, oh, my goodness.
I don't want to know that.
Yeah, I know. But it is. These parallel universes, these different realities and stuff are related to our ability to see blue, is what you're saying. It's something we
It's the
are
same thing.
evolving to.
Yeah, it's somebody has to look at you or teach you, oh my golly, that's the color blue. And oh, that just means that you're having an ET experience. Or that just means that you're living in a multidimensional reality. Or that just means that, you've moved from one quantum hologram bubble and now you're in another quantum hologram bubble. And it's okay.
All right, so I want to go back real quick to paranoia, Men in Black, hearing things. Church says what you're hearing, that's the devil, or that's demons, or science might say you got something wrong with your brain, you've got chemical imbalance. We got a lot of people that are ready to jump on the bandwagon if you say, I'm hearing ETs, trying to tell you that's bad, wrong, you shouldn't do it. Do you see that changing? That echo consciousness, understanding that we're hearing and seeing things from other parallel universe, ETs, will be accepted in mainstream in the near future?
I think that's happening right before our eyes.
Yeah.
Really, look at the Long Island Medium on television talking to dead people.
Yeah.
And I think I think it's happening on numerous levels. Near-death experiencers are the whole, they've become sort of the poster child of paranormal science, because they die usually in a hospital where there's scientifically verifiable, information that you can use. So yeah, but that being said, I really don't think we're going to get there until we really, consciousness science opens up more doors for us. I think we're walking through the doors. I think we get it.
Your video stopped again.
Intuitively and emotionally and experientially, and then science catches up to it. Am I not on video then?
Oh, you are now. You just stop every so often.
Okay.
We can blame it on some government intervention or something, but it's just the internet. A lot of people...
But your question was, is the church going to accept it?
Yeah. The church, because see, the church has a very strong pull on a lot of people. Right now I'm in Tulsa. I'm in the Bible Belt area, or Oral Roberts University. So as we mentioned earlier, they believe in healing and different things. But they so it's certainly more Protestant than maybe some other places. But there's a lot of private Catholic schools. But whatever. They have a hold on that subject for a very long time. Whenever there's something magical or something that's not in the book, then it's bad. It's evil. You're hearing the demons or something.
It's throughout the book.
Well, yeah, the book has apparently burning bushes can talk and stuff, and different things happen.
Apparently, when you're going to a war, you go to the Oracle at Delphi and ask her what's going to happen to you.
Well, my favorite is a talking mule. When the prophet wants to go by, the mule says, "Honey, I'm not taking your ass." No, I'm not doing that. So all that stuff's there, and then don't forget we have virgin births and stuff too, and other magical stuff. Talking snakes. But anyway, still, for some reason, I don't know what the reason is. They've been kind of like, well, that's all bad. That's all good and bad. But it is changing, isn't it? It is changing. I've known a lot of people that came from a religious background that are now opening up to the ETs and opening up to extra stuff and understanding that their gifts and abilities are not to be ashamed of, not something to be embarrassed about, not something to be worried about or fearful of, that they're normal.
I think also, well, I come from a religious background. I went to seminary. I'm ordained in the United Methodist Church. I've always known that that was one of the groups that I was to work with, that I was to, you know, be part of that community as an extraterrestrial experiencer. And also look at what the Catholic Church is doing. I mean, Consuelo, or I forget how he says his name, the Catholic Vatican astronomer, wrote the book about saving ET. You know, the Roman Catholic Church is very savvy, so they're taking the issue of extraterrestrials and they're flipping it into, they're going to evangelize them and baptize them. I think the book's called Would You Baptize an ET? So instead of saying we're going to fit in and learn from the ETs, they've, you know, taken it back to the colonization and the mission of America, where, you know, we're going to baptize you.
We're going to convert them.
And we're going to convert them and bring them into our flock.
Oh, that's
probably.
Well, first we got to be happy with the gay people and let them in first. You know, I'm just going to throw that out there.
Maybe ET comes first. I don't know.
Maybe they're covered. It's not in the book, so it's okay. You know, maybe it's a genderless thing. I'm sorry, I really got off subject now. I didn't mean to take you off that subject.
No, it's the truth of our culture.
The seriousness of what you're saying, that's what got me. The seriousness of exo-consciousness is an awareness that we're all ETs. The awareness that we all have this ability. That is the thing that got my attention about what you're saying. I think that's very solid, and I applaud you for that. And I go, namaste, applaud you for that. That is a statement in itself. The other statement where you said that we're evolving to a place and we can change the culture. We can brand ourselves differently instead of getting all of our information from government sources and being fearful. We can brand it to just a reality and a normality of our life as ETs on this planet.
Right.
That's the things that got my attention when I saw that blog. I go, I got to have that woman. I mean, please come back. I got to visit with you. That was amazing. That was set so many people free. If you were not fearful of the things you're seeing, experiencing, knowing that that's normal and that's because where you came from and who you are and your experience, that would take off so much baggage off people that are fearful. That would take off so much worry from people.
Mm-hmm.
So when the men in black brought me this envelope, I wasn't worried. It really was my roommate. But I mean, isn't it crazy how many people are so freaked out about everything? And
well, I think the other thing that it's going to demand of us, and you know, we can do a whole show on this topic, because what it demands of us is to be inward instead of outward. And by that, I mean, it's pretty easy to allow the government and the military and the intelligence sources to say, this is what happened. This is what the phenomenon means. This is what it
video went away again.
Means
there you go.
Medically. This is what
say it again because your video stopped.
Psychiatric way. And to say, oh, okay, to have, it's easier to have the experts in our society, government, military, intelligence, scientists, material scientists, give us information that we accept as true. This is what a UFO is.
Yes.
This is what an ET is.
Yes.
This is what the brain is. They haven't yet gone into consciousness, but this is what the brain is. This is what the body is. This is what our planet is. This is what the moon is. This is what Mars and Venus are. This is
your role as a woman. This is your role as a man. This is your role as this country and that country. All these, yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so what happens then is we are always other-oriented. We're always looking to open up our Facebook or looking to open up our email so we'll get answers to our questions. Mm-hmm. Who am I as a human? What's my soul? What's it mean that I dream? What happens after I die? If I can just find that answer on, Facebook or in the blogs that I subscribe to, I'm going to have all the answers. No, you're not.
No.
That's the tough one. The tough one really is that I think I have to paraphrase a quote I had in the second blog is when you've run out of places to ask for answers or places to look for answers, there's only one place left, and that's you.
Yes.
And so the consideration with exoconsciousness is, are you ready to look at yourself?
I think that's it in a nutshell. And I got to say goodbye. We're running out of time. But I always had this slogan for a long time: truth's inside. Your truth is inside you. Thank you. Namaste, Rebecca, PhD, and all your titles and different things. Your website one more time so people can learn more about you.
Exoconsciousness.com, or just Rebecca Hardcastle Wright. You can find me. And just click on the blog. And I'd love for you to sign up for the blog and send in your email, and I can be in contact with you.
And I heard rumor there's a good chance you're going to be in Laughlin at some conference coming up and some other stuff coming up.
Laughlin.
So see you in person. That'd be cool. And you froze up again. Oh, there you are. You're back. Now you're smiling.
And
okay.
All the information is on the Exoconsciousness website.
There you go.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you. I had so much fun. Bye, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Bye.